In the last 24 to 48 hours, there have been two trades that have been dominating the headlines, which is the Kyrie trade and the Kevin Durant trade. Both of those trades deserve all the attention, and rightfully so. Those two guys are marquee players. They're superstar caliber players, as they would say. And they were both blockbuster deals that shook the league and got everybody else to make these moves to counter those moves, I would say. It influenced a flurry of trades to happen. I just want to talk about a few trades I felt that were underrated that may have gone underneath the radar, but these trades could have a huge boost to the teams that receive these players. It could help in their playoff runs and possibly help one of these three teams get a championship. So the first trade I want to talk about is with the Clippers. They were able to acquire Bones Highland and Eric Gordon. They didn't have to give up much to get either of them. I think they gave up Luke Kennard to get Eric Gordon, and they gave up a few second round picks to get Bones Highland. I have to say that was a really good move for them. Just get those two guys where it adds to their depth. I actually like Bones Highland, and I don't get why the Nuggets wanted to get rid of him. To me, he was like a poor man's Manu Ginobili. Just the way he had the ability to get into the paint and change directions. He was very shifty and not afraid of contact. I really liked watching him play. It still boggles my mind that the Nuggets would get rid of him. Just I don't get it why. The only thing I've heard from Nugget fans is that he was having problems with Jeff Malone, the ownership and coaching staff allegedly, and that's what caused him to get traded. But I still think this was a bad trade for the Nuggets. Just he was a very good sixth man. I felt off their bench. Will this impact their ability to win a championship? We'll see. The Nuggets are still a deep team even without him, but I don't understand why you would arm the Clippers with a good sixth man like Bones Highland, a team that plays in the Western Conference. I get it if he's being toxic and he's not coachable. Okay, fine, you trade him, but you want to trade him to the East. You don't trade him to the West, especially to a potential rival you may face in the playoffs. I just don't get it. So that was a good pickup by the Clippers, and also getting Eric Gordon. That was another good pickup. Eric Gordon is not a young player anymore. He's 34, but he's still putting up decent numbers for his age. I think he's averaging 13, 14 points, and he's shooting 36, 37% overall from three. So that's pretty good for someone of his age caliber. The other guy the Clippers picked up was Mason Plumlee. I've never been a fan of Mason Plumlee, but I feel that he's a good backup center. Just he's a good backup center. He's been putting up great numbers for the Hornets this year, but if we're being honest, that's kind of like stat padding because the Hornets are a really bad team. He was able to average 12 points and nearly 10 rebounds per game. Career-wise, he's always been a backup, and I think he'll add more size to the Clippers. They desperately need it. Zubac tends to get into foul trouble, and they don't have a legit center off the bench to back him up. So I think that's going to be huge for them. And I don't think they hardly gave up anything for him. I think he was involved in the three-way trade that they did with the Hornets, Rockets, I believe, and I'm trying to think who else. Hornets, Rockets, Nuggets. So yeah, he was in one of those trades, but they didn't give up hardly anything for him. So the Clippers were able to just increase their depth without hurting their team, which is always a plus when you're a legit playoff team, and especially when healthy, you're an elite team. So these moves could definitely help them in the playoffs. And if they manage to go all the way to the finals or possibly win a championship, these moves will be the reason for it. I think a great deal of it will be because of these moves they made. They were able to add depth to their team, so it helped them tremendously. The next trade I would like to talk about is a very small trade, which was the Bucks trading for Jay Crowder. I believe they gave up several second round picks. To me, that's really nothing because I personally believe second round picks are overrated. About like 90% of the time, they turn out to be garbage anyway. So you're really not giving up anything to get a good veteran player in Jay Crowder. Jay Crowder, let me just see how old he is right now. I think he's in his early 30s, I believe. I just want to look it up. Let's look it up right now. He was born in July of 1990. So he'll be turning 33 this year, at the end of this year. I think he still has probably a good 2-3 years left in the tank to be a very good role player. He's also been experienced. He's played on some deep teams. He's been to the finals before. I believe he's been to the finals twice in his career, at least with Miami and Phoenix. So he has that experience to go in these deep playoff runs. And I think Milwaukee needed to add a little bit more depth. There's just something I felt has been missing about the Bucks all year. He's a veteran player. You can play him at either the 3 or 4. He could switch those positions. I think he adds them some toughness, which they've been kind of missing since they lost PJ Tucker a few years back. This move could be very underrated, especially as they play the Celtics the 7-game series. A role player like him can shift the pendulum. So I think that could be a very good move for them going forward. We'll see how that plays out. The next move I would like to talk about is the Golden State Warriors acquiring Gary Payton too, which to me is very frustrating because I hate the Warriors and they were able to get him back. I think this is a huge move for them. They traded James Wiseman, I believe, in a 3-way trade, and they were able to acquire him through that trade. So they didn't really give up much considering that they weren't playing Wiseman all year. So it's not a loss to them. Great. I hope Wiseman does well in Detroit where he's going to be playing now. I'd like to see him do well just to spite them since I hate the Warriors so much. But this was a great move by the Warriors. I felt all year they've missed Gary Payton too, that they have missed his defense. To me, he was a huge spark plug for them last year off the bench. He was a great defensive player. You can say arguably probably their best perimeter player. I know people want to say Draymond Green is their best defensive player. You could say that for Draymond, but outside of Draymond Green, I think he is the best defensive player on their team. And they really miss that. They don't have any other guy who could play elite style defense like he can play. He's a very great defender. He's great at playing passing lanes. He can make those plays that can just spark a team. And I think they've been missing that all year, obviously. So it really sucks that they were able to get him back. That move is very infuriating for me. He could definitely save their season. He has the ability to do that, unfortunately. I think they need like a shot in the arm to just play better basketball. I think he could definitely give them that inspiration, to be honest. They really need that in the worst way. Let me just look at where they're in the Western Conference standings right now. Just want to check that out. Let me see. Just looking at it right now. They are right now 9th place, but it's very close. They're just like literally just a game or two out of this even going to number 7 in the West. So that's how stacked it is. He could give them that confidence to get out of their rut. I don't know how long Curry's gone, but he might be the guy that can help them just hold down the fort until Curry returns. That move to me was a big move for the Warriors, and if their season turns around, I think they will have that move to I'm trying to think of the term, it slips my mind, but they'll have that move to look back at as the move that really shifted their season and got them into the right direction. So that was a good move by them. Another move I like to bring up is the Lakers getting Mo Bamba for Patrick Beverley. I think that was a good move for them. I'm not sure how much of a difference it's going to make for them to get into the playoffs with Mo Bamba, but he could be a very good backup center for them. They were lacking that since they got rid of Thomas Bryant, who was a solid player in another trade. I think they got rid of Thomas Bryant in the Nuggets trade. So that was a very good, solid move for the Lakers. Definitely adds depth to their team. So you give them credit for that. They didn't have to give up anything really to get him. They didn't need Patrick Beverley, I felt. So that was a good move. I'm trying to think about what else. I'll also break down the Nuggets trade and in the sense of what they got for Bones Highland. They got Thomas Bryant in a 3-way trade to when they traded Bones Highland. Thomas Bryant, from what I saw with the Lakers this year, he's a solid player. He's a solid backup center who was starting for them because the Lakers had no depth. He's a very good lob player. He's good at running to the rim to get easy buckets when you need it. His defense is not really good, but as a backup for Jokic, I think he'll definitely help. The Jokic hasn't had a really good backup in a while. So I guess that's good that the Nuggets were able to get that, but I'm still just scratching my head about them getting rid of Bones Highland. So those are the moves that really stood out to me for today. I can't think of anything else, but yeah, those are the moves right there. Nothing else to say.